Hi everyone, my name is Julie. This is Keep Calm with Books and Coffee. I talk about books on this channel, mainly books about magic, and if you want to see more of that, you can subscribe down below. And today we are going to be combining two of my favorite things, books and the TV show Bones for the Bones book tag. Hello everyone, and I am so excited to do this tag today. Bones is one of my favorite TV shows. I watched it live for years and years and years, and I just adore it. And this was created by Angela over at the Literature Science Alliance, so I will have her channel and the original video linked down below for you to check out. You definitely should if you aren't familiar with her channel. It is full of amazing science fiction and fantasy recommendations. I am doing this tag, it came to my attention because Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading is running a Bones watch along on her Patreon this year, and they watch a couple of episodes a week. I haven't been caught up for months because I got distracted by the 911 series catch up that I was doing, and this month there is a little extra bit of Bones going on within her Patreon, and someone posted that this tag existed, and I just had to do it because I absolutely, like I said, love this show. So thank you to Brittany and the Patreon Discord for bringing this to my attention because I love it, and I'm so excited to answer these questions. It was so fun the way this tag was put together because it's based all around the characters, which is my favorite part of Bones, and also my favorite part of books is the strong characters. So I'm hoping that I can do all of our characters justice with these questions. So we have a total of 11 prompts, and the first one is The Diner, your favorite cozy series, one that you can reread forever, or it is a long-running series with new entries that get you excited. And mine is kind of a combo of these two things because it's still ongoing, and it is the Mr. Darcy and Miss Tinley mystery series by Claudia Gray. I have been reading this year. The first book is The Murder of Mr. Wickham, and I've been buddy reading it with Leandra, and this is a story of, we take many of the original characters from the Jane Austen novels and then just set this story a little bit in the future where some of them have children, namely Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney, and then murders start happening and we have to solve those murders. And it is such a cozy and fun series. I love all the characters in here. Well, all the characters we're supposed to love, and it is such an interesting exercise in seeing how Claudia Gray writes these stories, where she sets them, how she interprets our characters further down the line in their lives, and I have just been enjoying this so much. It's cozy and fun with a little bit of murder, and this has just been a delight to read. I cannot wait for the next installment, and I really do think I could reread these as comfort reads down the line because there's so much little things going on within them between the characters and the murder and the mystery and everything that I think I could pick up on more after a reread. And overall, this is just a cozy little series that just seems to fit perfectly for this question for me. So the rest of the questions are all about the characters within the show and themed around the characters, which I think is brilliant. First, we have our entitled character, Bones, or Temperance Brennan. And the question is, book that features a rational character. And for this one, I have chosen A Master of Gin by Peta Jelly Clark. Our main character, Fatma, has been a rational voice in the chaos that is happening around her throughout the stories we see her featured in, because this is the only novel-length story within this series, but there is also a couple of short stories revolving around this same world and characters and such. And in each installment, she is just this rational voice that sort of makes the investigation move forward, that thinks and doesn't get drawn in by any of the theater or the, magical happenings. She is very focused on her goal. She is very investigation minded, and I just love the way she works, and I love to see her work. So I really hope at some point we will get more installments in this series because I just have loved watching her investigate things, but I'm not sure that's in the cards. Number 3 is Booth, and for this one, you have to choose a book that features a white knight persona, and this just seemed to line up perfectly because I'm choosing an actual knight in October Daye from the Toby Daye series by Shauna McGuire. The first book is Rosemary and Rue. Toby is a knight within the fairy realm, so she ends up being an investigator, just like Booth, and has to go out and try and solve all of the weird problems that fairy creates, both with, its own problems and with the way it interacts with the modern world. I love Toby. I love the found family aspect of this series reminds me of Bones, and I just love the way this story has built over time. And it's a little rough in the beginning. Like, the first couple installments are definitely not the strength of the series, but as we get deeper and deeper into the series, I have just become more and more endeared to this. This also could have been my answer to the first question, because I am waiting on bated breath for another installment in this series, and we won't get one until next year because we got 2 last year. So I am just so excited to see where this story goes, and really this story could go on forever for me. So now I'm kind of answering the first question. But anyway, this story all revolves around Toby, who is this knight, and she ends up being the one who is always trying to solve the problem, always trying to, even if everyone around her is begging her not to play the hero, like that is something that she is struggling to figure out if she is, like, capital in quotes, a hero throughout this book or this series, and I just love her and love this series to death. Number 4 is Angela, a book that features a free spirit or artistic character, and for this one I'm choosing The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. In this we have Vasilisa, who is definitely a free spirit. She is someone who doesn't want to move forward with the times, but for different reasons than just being stuck in the past. She can see these spirits and the gods that are the old gods in her world, and she doesn't want to, convert to the Christian gods because she can see how these older gods and spirits are still influencing the land around her. And I just love this. I love watching her over the course of these 3 books. She has such an interesting story arc, and how her story arc kind of intertwines with the story of, provincial Russia is so interesting. And I loved this series so much. I definitely recommend it going into the winter season because this is perfect. Last year, I finished this series curled up on my couch, getting ready to watch the ball drop, just with like ambient lighting and a cozy setting. And it was the perfect way to finish out this series. I definitely, if you can recreate whatever's happening in this little cottage here with this warm glow, it's gonna actually enhance your reading experience with this book. Number 5 is Hodgins, a character that finds beauty where most people find slime. And for this, I have chosen A Curious Beginning, the Veronica Speedwell mystery by Deanna Raybourn. This is the first book in the series, and Veronica is a lepidopterist. I think that's how you say it. She loves butterflies. She is a butterfly scientist, collector. I can't remember which term is correct, but she is a lady scientist, and she goes on expeditions to find bugs and, go all over the world in order to do this. She figures out ways to go and explore the world, and I love that for her. I do have a couple of issues with this series, but I do want to keep reading it and moving forward to see if they get resolved, because I think they might over time, but we'll see. But overall, this is a very fun series, all about a lady who loves bugs, so I had to choose it for the Hodgins character. The next question is for Cam, and Cam is one of my absolute favorite characters in this series. She starts out as not being one of my favorite characters, but she grows on me throughout the series so much. The first 4 characters we've named here are the core 4 of the series, but Cam has a special place in my heart. I absolutely adore her. So this features a character that brings the team together or is incredibly organized, and we definitely needed her going into the second season. I think she really helped kind of Throughout the first season, you can really see the show figuring out what kind of investigation show it wants to be. And I think Cam really helped focus us onto the, actual overall tone of the show. So I think she's really essential and wonderful, and I love her. So anyway, that's enough waxing poetic about Cam. Her question features a character that brings the team together or is incredibly organized. So for this question, I have chosen The Rest of the Story by Tal Bauer, and the character I'm talking about is our main character, Morgan. Morgan is a incredible character who has my entire heart. I have said that multiple times this year when talking about this book. He is absolutely fantastic, and he is the person who the team he is traded to has gone through a lot. They have had a abusive and toxic captain and no one helping them get out of that situation. And when Morgan joins the team, he is there to both help them take out the trash and also rebuild everyone there. And he does such a beautiful job doing it. And I absolutely love this story of him coming into his own. He is organized and he is incredible overall. I just love him, and he just brings everyone together and creates such a beautiful team atmosphere within this book. And I loved it. I need to reread this because I just absolutely loved it the first time, and I can't wait to read it again. Number 7 is Sweets. Sweets is so great. Love him. And this is a favorite character that is introduced later in the series or didn't become a favorite until later. And I don't have a lot of long running series on my shelf beyond ones that I have already mentioned, so I'm trying not to do repeats. So for this one, I am going to talk about Lyriel by Garth Nix because this is in a trilogy. The second book is voiced by Lyriel, and this story was something that I really had to get convinced to be on board with because in the first book, I was so attached to Sabriel and her story and what her journey was. And then we switched to Lyriel in the second book, and it really took me a while to get on board with her. And I think probably until my first reread to really get endeared to her. But, it was probably the second book that really won me over with her, because at first I wasn't 100% sure, even though she is most people's favorite character within this series because she is a librarian and a lot of other things. But, it took me a little while to be won over by her simply because I loved Sabriel so much. Next up is Caroline, who she is fabulous. She's wonderful. She is our resident lawyer who helps get all kinds of things accomplished within the show, but she is also very, very funny. She has a lot of one-liners. She is very much on top of that team, trying to keep them in line, and she cracks me up every time. Her prompt is the funniest supporting character, and I'm going to show you a series where this character is not a supporting character, but he is a supporting character in the series that I'm going to talk about, and that is Roman from the Kate Daniels series. He has a small spin-off series that has just started under, where he is the main character, but within the Kate Daniels series, he is a minor character who helps in a similar fashion. He is a dark god's Voliv, I think is how you say it. And he is a servant of a dark god, and they need his help with all types of random things. There is a scene where two of our main characters are going to his house to ask for a favor, and there are booby traps everywhere, and they're just shouting for help, and eventually he comes out and says some very funny stuff, and it's just, he is a fantastic character. He's also hilarious, and I'm so glad we're getting to see him in a main character light, but within that series, he is such a fun and hilarious supporting character. Next up, we have the Interns, the revolving door of interns that we all know and love, most of them. And this is a book with more than 7 points of view. I'm not sure this has 7 points of view, but this is as close as I personally could get. And that is, we're going back to a tried and true favorite of Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't mentioned this series on this channel recently, and I feel like that's a disservice because this duology is so fantastic and so fun. So I definitely wanted to give it a little bit of a shout out. This is a heist story with a group of characters that are all traveling to do a heist with magic and fun and adventure. And, you know, it is a series that its strength is in its characters, just like this show, so I thought it fit in pretty well. Anyway, love this series. I think I need to reread this at some point and can't wait to do so. Number 10 is The Big Bad, and I love that, just like Angela said in her video, that we don't get a ton of like interpersonal conflict between our main characters in this story. There are issues, there are things that happen throughout the seasons, but for the most part, conflict comes from the outside in the form of like serial killers and stuff like that. So this show has a strength, I think, in creating those big bad storylines, and it was always so intricate and interesting to see it all happen. And in that fashion, I chose the story of Uprooted by Naomi Novik because the big bad in this story is the forest. And I love that type of story. This is kind of more of an example of that, wanting that big bad to be the big bad forest, the big scary forest. There's a magical forest in here who, you know, we can't enter, you know, people disappear into it, all types of things, and it is sort of a looming presence within the story. There are other like villains going on, but that is one that kind of looms throughout the story, and I just love investigating a big bad forest that is sentient, and you know, it's just my favorite, just like the serial killer seasons are like my favorite on Bones. Number 11 is the love stories, and this is so fun as a concept because there's one big one, and then there's a few throughout the series of will they, won't they relationships within the series. So this question is your favorite will they, won't they love story. And for this one, I am going to choose A Winter's Promise, the Mirror Visitor series by Christelle Dabos. I don't talk about this series a lot on this channel because the arc of the story, the end of the series, is a tough one. However, the journey of the will they, won't they relationship without this series is so interesting. It was a driving force in me needing to get to the end of the series, and it was so you just had so many questions throughout the whole thing. Like I said, the ending of this series is a little tough for me personally, like the way I gave the first 2 books 5 stars, the third book 4 stars, and then I think the 4th book 3 stars. So like it's a little tough to like recommend the series as a whole, but the first 2 books, especially the like will they, won't they of their relationship, is such an interesting dynamic to follow. But those are all the questions for this tag. Thank you so much to Angela for creating it and for Brittany to help bringing it to my attention. I had so much fun doing this and talking about both Bones and books. I'm gonna need to this is making me really want to go watch the Bones seasons, so we're gonna have to figure that out. But that is it for me today. If you have any thoughts or feelings or want to share anything about the books that I talked about today, please let me know down below. Or if you want to let me know your favorite like Bones character or Bones season, even Bones episode, you can let me know that down below. And if you're not feeling chatty, you can always leave me some kind of related emoji. I hate to say like murder emoji, but like a bone emoji or a skull emoji, since we're talking about Bones, the show. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!